the Iron Edge Robotics story: innovation doesn't come cheap. Sometimes, it demands your sweat, your blood, and a good drink at the Princess Bar. Prologue: a startup scammer. Iron Edge Robotics, a fledgling humanoid robotics company, had grown restless in Silicon Valley's sterile corridors. Their CEO, Dr. Lena Cross, a former MIT prodigy with a knack for taking impossible ideas and turning them into cold steel, led the charge. Her team, a motley group of tech misfits, was determined to revolutionize humanoid robotics by acquiring the Reavers Universal Robotics factory in Madripoor's Hightown. Hightown, glimmering with sleek architecture and cutting-edge tech, stood in stark contrast to Madripoor's chaotic Lowtown. But in a city where opportunity danced hand in hand with danger, the promise of profit overshadowed the risks. The factory at 1119 Holonomic Rd was the crown jewel. Square footage: 134,352 square feet of prime industrial space. Net operating income, NOI, $2,233,691.20 annually, thanks to a 100% occupancy rate. Tenant quality, A-grade, high-credit tenants locked into 5-year staggered leases. Replacement cost, a staggering $25 million, with operating expenses at an efficient 28%. The deal was promising, but Lena knew numbers weren't everything. Madripoor's criminal underbelly, ruled by rotating gangs, could disrupt even the most lucrative venture. The acquisition: Lena and her CFO, Ezra Drake, stood outside the factory, the ethic with a salt of Buccaneer Bay. Donald Pierce, the factory's former owner and leader of the cyber-enhanced Reavers, had vanished under mysterious circumstances, leaving the facility in limbo. With the help of Tiger, Madripoor's most powerful crime lord, Iron Edge outbid competitors, including shadowy bidders with ties to Hydra and AIM. The numbers sealed the deal. Cap rate, 10%, an attractive rate for a high-tech factory in Madripoor. Loan-to-value ratio, LTV, 40%, leaving Iron Edge with a manageable equity investment. Internal rate of return, IRR, 12%, promising long-term growth. Net present value, NPV, $3 million, validating the venture. Cash-on-cash return, 9%, a respectable immediate return on their equity. Despite these metrics, Lena couldn't shake the feeling that they'd walked into a lion's den. Enter Wolverine. That evening, the team celebrated at the Princess Bar, a dingy yet iconic dive in Lowtown. It was here, among Madripoor's rogues and drunks, that they encountered Logan, better known as Wolverine. Logan, nursing a whiskey, didn't bother with pleasantries. "You don't look like you belong here," he growled, eyeing Lena. "We just bought the factory on Holonomic," Lena replied, trying to sound casual. "Reaver's old place?" Logan's voice dropped, thick with warning. "That's a hive of trouble. Pierce left more than just machines in that building." Before Lena could ask what he meant, Jason Hone, Tiger, sauntered over. "Logan, stop scaring the newcomers. They're under my protection." Logan snorted but didn't argue. "If you're smart, you'll have someone check the sub-levels of that factory. And don't trust the numbers too much, they don't tell the whole story." The factory's secrets. Back at the factory, Lena and her team began operations. It didn't take long to uncover Logan's warning was more than paranoia. In a hidden sub-level, they found a Reaver's weapons lab, complete with combat-ready humanoids designed for illicit trade. "This could ruin us," Ezra whispered, staring at the sleek, deadly machines. But Lena saw an opportunity. We reprogrammed them. Turned them into advanced security units for the factory and beyond. This bold move drew attention. A visit from Hydra. Weeks later, Baron Zemo himself appeared at Iron Edge's Madripoor office. "You've stumbled into something interesting," he mused, his tone dripping with menace. "Hydra had plans for those machines. I suggest you reconsider your little venture." Lena stood firm. "We're here to build humanoid robotics, not weapons." Zemo's smile was chilling. "Madripoor doesn't care about your ethics. You'll find the line between innovation and destruction is very thin here." Tiger, who had been monitoring the situation, intervened. "Zemo, they're under my protection. Touch them, and you'll answer to me." Zemo left, but the encounter solidified what Lena already knew: Madripoor wasn't for the faint of heart. Profiting amid chaos despite the threats, Iron Edge thrived. By the year's end, they increased rents from $35.20/SF to $39.43/SF, narrowing the gap between market and in-place rates. Effective gross income, IG, rose to $2,500,000, far exceeding projections. The factory's operating efficiency, with an operating expense ratio, OR, of 28%, became a model for industrial facilities. They reinvested profits to expand their humanoid robotics R&D, integrating AI and adaptive learning. Their power broker score climbed to 4.9, catching the attention of investors across the Pacific Rim. The final showdown, Iron Edge's success painted a target on their backs. One night, the factory came under attack by remnants of the Reavers, desperate to reclaim their tech. Lena and her team, along with Logan and Tiger, fought back. Logan's claws tore through the attackers while Tiger's sharpshooters provided cover. Lena even deployed the reprogrammed Reavers as defenders, showcasing their new loyalty. The battle ended with Logan lighting a cigar amid the smoldering wreckage. "You've got guts, Doc. But don't let Madripoor chew you up." Legacy of 1119 Holonomic Rd Iron Edge Robotics didn't just survive here, they thrived. Their innovation, grit, and alliances with figures like Logan and Tiger turned the factory into a symbol of Madripoor's dual nature, danger and opportunity. In a city built on ambition, Iron Edge carved their name in steel, one humanoid at a time. A tech-driven success story, robotics firms and real estate metrics setting the scene. Holonomic Robotics Hub. The property at 1119 Holonomic Road, Maripoor, has become a thriving hub for innovative robotics companies. The building housed cutting-edge firms specializing in everything from autonomous drones to surgical robotics. This prime real estate was meticulously analyzed not just for its potential as a business incubator but also for its financial performance. Here's how the story unfolded as key metrics were calculated, propelling the property to achieve a stellar power broker score of 4.9 stars. Crunching the numbers, DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. One of the first priorities for the owners was ensuring the property could cover its debt obligations comfortably. Here's how they calculated the DSCR. Net operating income, NOI. The NOI stood at $2,233,691.20, derived from lease agreements with high-credit tenants. Annual debt service. The annual mortgage payment, including principal and interest, amounted to $1,440,000. DSCR formula. The debt service coverage ratio, DSCR, is calculated by dividing the net operating income, NOI, by the annual debt service. In this case, the net operating income is $2,233,691.20. The annual debt service is $1,440,000. To calculate the DSCR, we divide $2,233,691.20 by $1,440,000. The result of this division is approximately 1.55. Therefore, the debt service coverage ratio, DSCR, for this property is 1.55, indicating that the property generates 1.55 times the income needed to cover its debt obligations. This suggests a healthy financial position, as the property is generating more than enough income to cover its debt payments. What it means, a DSCR of 1.55 indicated that the property generated 55% more income than needed to service the debt, making it a low-risk investment from a lender's perspective. Projecting growth, IRR, internal rate of return. Investors were keen to assess the IRR, which measures the profitability of the investment over time. Here's how it was calculated. Initial investment, $10 million was put into the property purchase and improvement. Cash flows, year 1 to 5, steady NOI of $2,233,691.20 per year. Year 5, sale of property at $25 million, based on market appreciation and improved tenant contracts. IRR calculation, using financial modeling software, the series of cash flows produced an IRR of 12%, exceeding the investor's hurdle rate of 8%. What it means, the IRR reflected a strong return for a commercial property, particularly given the high credit tenants and consistent occupancy. Assessing profitability, NPV, net present value. NPV was used to quantify the value added by the investment after accounting for initial costs and future cash flows. Discount rate, a conservative discount rate of 8% was applied to account for the risk and opportunity cost. Future cash flows, year 1 to 5 NOI, $2,233,691.20 per year. Sale proceeds, $25 million in year 5. NPV formula, the net present value, NPV, is calculated as the sum of all future cash flows, each discounted to its present value, minus the initial investment. To break it down further, start with the sum, represented by the Greek letter sigma, of all future cash flows. For each cash flow, take the cash flow amount for a given time period, represented by cash flow T. Divide this by 1 plus the discount rate, R, raised to the power of T, where T represents the time period of that cash flow. Add up all of these discounted cash flows. From this sum, subtract the initial investment. The result is the net present value. This formula allows investors to determine the present value of an investment by estimating its future cash flows and discounting them back to the present day. It takes into account the time value of money, recognizing that $1 today is worth more than $1 in the future due to its earning potential. Result, $3 million. What it means, a positive NPV confirmed that the project added substantial value, validating the decision to invest. Attracting investors, cash-on-cash return. Investors closely monitored the cash-on-cash return to understand how much income they were generating relative to their initial cash investment. Annual cash flow, NOI minus debt service. The cash-on-cash return is calculated by dividing the annual cash flow by the equity invested. In this case, the annual cash flow is $793,691.20. The equity invested is $10 million. To calculate the cash-on-cash return, we divide $793,691.20 by $10 million. The result of this division is 0.07936991, which is equivalent to approximately 9% when expressed as a percentage. Therefore, the cash-on-cash return for this investment is 9%, meaning that the annual cash flow represents 9% of the initial equity investment. This indicates that for every dollar invested, the investor is receiving 9 cents in annual cash flow. What it means, a 9% cash-on-cash return exceeded industry benchmarks, making the property highly attractive to stakeholders. Why the Power Broker score matters. After crunching the numbers, the property earned a Power Broker score of 4.9 stars, nearly perfect. Here's why: financial performance, metrics like DSCR, 1.55, IRR, 12%, and NPV, $3 million, demonstrated the property's stability and profitability. Tenant quality, high credit tenants with staggered leases ensured a steady income stream and minimized vacancy risk. Market competitiveness, the market rent of $39.43 per square foot was significantly higher than in-place rent, signaling untapped potential. Property condition, the property was rated excellent in its condition assessment, further boosting its desirability. Occupancy and stability, a 100% occupancy rate, paired with low market vacancy, 5%, showcased its prime market positioning. What it all means: the Power Broker score of 4.9 isn't just a number, it represents the culmination of strategic planning, robust financial metrics, and exceptional market positioning. It signals to investors, tenants, and stakeholders that 1119 Holonomic Rd is more than a property, it's a thriving, resilient investment. Robotics firms, drawn by the high-tech amenities and reliable infrastructure, found a stable home, ensuring the property's long-term success. Iron Edge Robotics, expanding horizons. Iron Edge Robotics had defied expectations in Madripoor's treacherous business landscape. The acquisition of the factory at 1119 Holonomic Rd had catalyzed their journey, but it wasn't without its challenges. The leadership team now focused on refining their strategy, expanding operations, and understanding the financial metrics that would define their success: internal rate of return, IRR, net present value, NPV, and cash-on-cash return. The team involves Dr. Lena Cross, CEO, the visionary leader who refused to compromise on innovation or ethics. Her relentless optimism and quick thinking were critical in turning threats into opportunities. Ezra Drake, CFO, analytical and pragmatic, Ezra thrived on numbers. While Lena dreamed big, Ezra ensured the dreams had a financial foundation. He championed KPIs, making them a core part of the team's decision-making process. Kala Venkat, head of AI development, Kala joined Iron Edge from a rival firm in Hightown. Her expertise in neural networks pushed the company's robotics into cutting-edge territory. A perfectionist, she often clashed with Lena over timelines but shared her commitment to excellence. Riker Brandt, operations manager, a grizzled logistics expert from Lowtown, Riker had an unmatched ability to streamline supply chains, ensuring the factory operated like a well-oiled machine. KPI insights, IRR, NPV, and cash-on-cash return. As the team set their sights on scaling operations, Ezra held a strategy meeting to discuss IRR, NPV, and cash-on-cash return, emphasizing their significance. Internal rate of return, IRR, what it is: the IRR measures the profitability of investments by calculating the discount rate that makes the net present value of future cash flows equal to zero. Essentially, it shows the expected rate of return on a project or investment. Why it matters: at 12%, Iron Edge's IRR was solid, signaling that the factory acquisition was a worthwhile long-term investment. A high IRR is crucial in high-risk environments like Madripoor, where unexpected challenges like attacks from rival factions that could erode profitability. Ezra's perspective: the IRR tells us if our money is working hard enough. Madripoor demands higher returns because of its volatile market. At 12%, we're beating most industrial averages, but we can't afford complacency. Kala's input: IRR isn't just a financial metric, it's a signal of confidence. It tells investors we're making good bets on the future. Net present value, NPV, what it is: NPV measures the profitability of an investment by subtracting the initial investment cost from the present value of expected cash flows. Iron Edge's NPV stood at $3 million, meaning the factory's current and future returns far exceeded the upfront cost. Why it matters: a positive NPV confirms that the investment adds value. In the case of Iron Edge, it validated their decision to reprogram the Reavers humanoid machines into security units, which increased revenue streams. Ezra's perspective: NPV is the litmus test for every deal we make. It's the difference between speculation and sound investment. The $3 million tells us we're not just surviving, we're thriving. Riker's input: every dollar of that NPV reflects smart operational decisions. The fewer breakdowns and delays we have, the more value we generate. Cash-on-cash return: what it is, this metric evaluates the cash income earned on the cash invested, expressed as a percentage. Iron Edge's 9% return demonstrated a steady flow of cash compared to their initial equity stake. Why it matters: for startups like Iron Edge, a healthy cash-on-cash return ensures liquidity for reinvestment and stability during market turbulence. Ezra's perspective: cash flow is king, especially in Madripoor. At 9%, we're not just covering debt, so we're building a war chest for future expansions. Lena's input: this isn't just about keeping the lights on. It's about funding innovation. Every dollar reinvested brings us closer to a breakthrough. Expanding operations with financial clarity, the team began their next phase, expanding production. Cala proposed a new line of humanoids tailored for disaster relief, equipped with advanced AI. However, this expansion meant renegotiating tenant leases at the factory to free up space. This move required careful stakeholder management, especially as some tenants expressed concerns over increased rent. Wolverine returns: Logan reappeared during a tense lease negotiation meeting. "Heard you're squeezing tenants for space," he said, leaning against the doorframe. Lena sighed. "Logan, this is business. We're offering fair compensation and better tech for everyone." Logan smirked. "Madripoor doesn't run on fairness, Doc. You'd better have backup plans." Sure enough, a rival faction from Lowtown attempted to sabotage the factory's supply chain. Riker's logistics team, bolstered by reprogrammed Reaver humanoids, thwarted the attack, cementing the factory's reputation as a fortress of innovation. The future of Iron Edge Robotics. Iron Edge's success was no longer just about financial metrics. It was about redefining what was possible in humanoid robotics. With strong KPIs, a visionary team, and allies like Logan and Tiger, the company stood poised to dominate Madripoor's industrial scene. As Lena gazed at the bustling factory floor, she knew one thing: Iron Edge Robotics wasn't just building machines, they were building a legacy. Q1: how can Iron Edge Robotics improve its IRR beyond the current 12%, and what strategies might they consider? Q2: how can the company leverage its positive NPV of $3 million to secure additional funding or partnerships? Q3: what are the risks associated with maintaining a 9% cash-on-cash return in Madripoor's volatile market, and how can they mitigate them? A1: improving the IRR could involve diversifying revenue streams, such as introducing the disaster relief humanoid line or licensing their AI technology. Reducing operational costs through automation or energy efficiency upgrades would also help. A2: a positive NPV can be used to attract venture capital or partnerships by showcasing the profitability of their projects. Lena could pitch to Hightown's elite investors, highlighting their ability to turn risky ventures into high-value opportunities. A3: risks include supply chain disruptions, tenant turnover, and market volatility. Mitigation strategies might include long-term contracts with reliable suppliers, insurance policies to cover operational risks, and maintaining a cash reserve for emergencies.